You've heard about the U.S. labor shortages and the difficulty for many businesses finding enough employees, especially in blue-collar and service industry jobs. It's just the opposite for employers of highly educated white-collar workers that are now more easily recruited. The labor shortages are having a strong impact on the U.S. economy. If unchecked, conditions could easily turn into one of the worst labor shortages in the last 50 years. Indeed, the pandemic certainly helped to bring these labor problems on. But there are other reasons why labor shortages are occurring. Experts say today's labor market conditions are the result of a perfect storm in which a number of long-term trends converged together. The baby boomer generation is massively retiring, bringing the growth of the working-age population to a halt. This trend is expected to continue through 2030. The pool of non-college graduates is rapidly shrinking. The number of young adults enrolling in four-year colleges, the number of those earning a bachelor's degree, are solidly increasing by roughly 2% annually. The number of those not having a bachelor's degree is shrinking. Our present decline in the supply of blue-collar and manual services workers would not have been a problem if the demand for them was shrinking. But in 2021, this is not the case. Young men without a college degree are now less likely to be in the labor force. They're much more likely to be single, living with family, and have less of a need for income. These trends are harder to reverse. The large drop in labor force participation of 16 to 24-year-olds. Much of this can be explained as the result of higher education attainment, but this significant drop in the supply of workers in occupations that typically hire young and less educated workers is problematic. For instance, the retail and food service industries are facing a deficit of 3.4 million jobs. And a poll found more than 31% of restaurant company leaders are being forced to close stores for lack of workers. The combination of a stagnant working-age labor force due to massive retirements and lower labor force participation rates for several key demographics are leaving many employers with no options. There is often a skills mismatch. It's very common for the skills people are hiring for aren't the same as the workforce requires. Workers will have to be better trained by things such as vocational training to fill the openings in blue-collar and manual services jobs. There is often a geographic mismatch. Now, many times the jobs are where the workers aren't. During the pandemic, the work-from-home era and a population outflow from urban to rural areas means many job seekers lived more and more remotely, but unfortunately not where many jobs were located. Also, many job seekers during the pandemic have moved away from populous areas to the suburbs, causing more employment problems for downtown employers. An expectations mismatch. Job seekers have higher expectations, and they now have the ability to really choose where they want to work. And they're looking for a good deal, something which employers aren't used to offering. Perhaps more bonuses and pay per hour would incentivize many workers. It seems as though government incentives were given for people not to work. During the pandemic, politicians gave generous unemployment checks, which some say has encouraged some former workers not to be motivated to seek out jobs. This may not be totally accurate because you also have to factor in COVID-19 circumstances, and some people being too scared to return to work too soon. A lot of experts feel that labor shortages in the U.S. will start to go lower in late 2021 and early 2022. But several key factors could keep the labor shortages trend going for some time. This is H.A. Graves.